Hello and welcome to Rathod Science Academy. Today in this session we are going to see current affairs of 25th September 2025. So let's get started with our discussion guys and let us see the first article. Here see the title, Leicester explodes into deadly violence. Government blames activist. So what is this article talking about? It is talking about something related to protest. Yes, in which region? Leh. Where is this Leh located? Yes, in Ladakh. Okay, so the key word of this article is protest in Ladakh. So here you have to know about what is the background of this article. And okay, let me tell you dimensions that you have to see. So first you have to see what is the history or background of this protest. Why this protest are happening in this region. And next you have to see about what is this Schedule 6 of Indian Constitution. And next you have to see why Ladakh is asking for this Schedule 6. And next you have to see what are the advantages of this Ladakh if it is entering into this Schedule 6. So actually where you are studying about this Schedule 6 in your syllabus? Yes, in polity. So this article is important from polity from GS paper 2. And apart from that, if there are any protest which is happening in any region, we can't maintain law and order. So again, government has to take some steps to control or to maintain law and order. And again, it is important from your governance point of view from GS paper 2. And if there is protest, Rasta Roko, like that, then what happened? There will be impact on the trade. There is no proper movement of goods. If there is buns, everything. And even it is having impact on our economy from GS paper 3. So all these are the subjects that you have to cover from this article point of view. So first of all, let us see the history or what is the background. So if you see the background of this article, why the present protests are happening, you have to go back to 2019. Okay, if you see what happened in this 2019, so which government was in the power in 2019? BJP government only, right? From 2014 onwards till today, BJP government is in power at the central level. So at that time, what this present government did was, we have Jammu and Kashmir state earlier, right? So this Jammu and Kashmir state has been divided into two union territories. So erstwhile state divided into two UTs. First one is UT of Jammu and Kashmir and second one is UT of Ladakh. Okay, so why this state had been converted into these two UTs? So the main reason is we have certain articles in our constitution. Those are Article 370 and Article 35A. So this Article 370 and 35A which provides special category status. Special category status to this Jammu and Kashmir. So because of this, here the Jammu and Kashmir residents or Jammu and Kashmir have certain provisions under this special category status. So because of this, it is very difficult for our country to unite or to integrate into our mainstream India. So actually the main important aim of our present government is to integrate this Jammu and Kashmir into India completely so that we can try to avoid certain situations regarding this India and Pakistan related things. So because of this, our government removed these two articles. And after removal of these two articles, now Jammu and Kashmir is not having any special category state. It is like other states of our country. And later on, our government came up with one act. And that act is Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act. Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act of 2019 and bifurcated this erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir into two UTs. UT of Jammu and Kashmir and UT of Ladakh. Okay, and this is having assembly and this is not having assembly. That is the difference between these two UTs. And at that time, our government also promised that we are going to give statehood for this Jammu and Kashmir, and we are going to include this Ladakh in Schedule 6 of our Indian Constitution. So that was a promise which made in this 2019. So in 2019, what were the bold step taken by our government? Removal of this Article 370 and Article 35A, which removed special category status to Jammu and Kashmir, and through this Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act of 2019, this state had been divided into two UTs. UT of Jammu and Kashmir with assembly, and this one is UT of Ladakh. And also one more promise made at that time is, so for some time being we will be recognizing as UT for this Jammu and Kashmir, and we are going to give statehood back to this Jammu and Kashmir, and we are going to include this Ladakh in 6th schedule. Okay, so this is the history. So it happened in 2019, the promise made in 2019. Now we are in 2025. Till now, there is no statehood for this Jammu and Kashmir, and not included in this, Ladakh is not included in this Schedule 6 of our Indian Constitution. Will people remain silent? No, they started protesting against government from last 2 years. Now, actually these protests are like peace protest, but recently that peace protest become violent, and they started attacking of especially some vehicles. They burned vehicles, they attacked shops, everything. Okay, so because of this, now it is a news case. Okay, clear? So I think you know about now the history, and now let us see what is happening there. Let us connect with what is happening with the past, with the present. So a peaceful demonstration in this Leh Ladakh region, they are demanding for statehood, that is for Jammu and Kashmir statehood, and inclusion in the 6th schedule. And now these protests, they had became violent when a mob protesters, primarily youth is nothing but Gen Z community, they attacked local BJP office, because who gave this promise? BJP government. So they attacked this local BJP office, and also they set fire to police vehicles, and that led to clashes between this Gen Z community and as well as police officials and as well as security forces. And in retaliation, so police will not keep silent, right? If students are coming and attacking them, so they used tear gas. What is this tear gas? So they release, what is a tear gas? Any formula, do you know this formula? Chemistry. Okay, find out the chemical name of this tear gas. And also they used baton charges, and they also went for warning shots in self-defense. Okay, so because of this, it created violence in this region. And if you see the details of this article, it says that the protest stemmed from Ladakh's 2019 bifurcation from Jammu and Kashmir, which placed it under direct central rule without promised autonomy. So if they are getting this category of Schedule 6, then they will be getting autonomy, like they can create now district councils, autonomous district councils, and they can have certain powers. But now directly Ladakh is under rule of central government without including in this Schedule 6. So because of this, they started protesting. And next one here is, there is no land safeguards. There is also a fear of culture erosion in that region, and even economy is also neglected because Ladakh is sharing directly boundary with China. So we know that across this India-China border also we are not having stability. Okay, so because of all these reasons, they are protesting for getting into this Schedule 6. Okay. Yeah, what is the impact of this kind of protest? Is that good? There will be the disturbance of law and order, and even many people, they lost their life, and many people, they succumbed with injuries. So human toll increased. Actually 4 to 5 deaths had been resulted, and around 60 to 100 people, they got injured. And because of this, it will traumatize this families of this injured people and as well as dead people. And even because of this violent protest, now government will be imposing curfews there and as well as shutdowns there. So because of this, obviously it will be disrupting the day-to-day life and as well as loss of livelihood and economic activities in this region. And next one here is, even there will be lots of impact across this border also. So China also can take this as an advantage. China can also supply arms for these people to fight against government. So because of this, again, it will be a greater security concern for our country, guys. Okay, so these are the impacts. And if you see why this Ladakh is demanding for 6th schedule status, you have to know this and please make a note of these points. So first one here is, if they are getting this 6th schedule status, then they will be getting some constitutional protection, especially under Article 240 of our Indian Constitution. So that here now this Ladakh, if it gets this 6th schedule status, then they will be getting greater autonomy, and as well as they will be also getting security for their local governance. And this one here is, they can protect their land rights. Okay, so now here, if any region is declared as 6th schedule region, normally the tribal regions will be declared as the 6th schedule. So they will be getting some restrictions on non-domicile from buying land in Ladakh. So outsiders cannot buy the land in this Ladakh, so that they can protect their culture. And next one here is, actually we have 97% of tribal population in this Ladakh, and they are having concerns regarding the erosion of culture, erosion of economy, and they want to protect their land rights. So for that, they are demanding for 6th schedule status. And even 6th schedule, which also provides autonomy, so they can now establish autonomous district councils. So by this autonomous district councils, now they can legislate, that they can make laws on land, forest, water resources, and their customary laws, and as well as education, so that we can protect their culture, or we can preserve their tribal culture. And next one here is, 6th schedule status will also helpful for preserving of indigenous languages, especially the tribals, they have their own tribal language, right? So they can have the right to protect their language now. Yeah, that is the thing. Because of that, they are asking for this 6th schedule. And what is a 6th schedule? So in which states it has been implemented, you have to see. 6th schedule, which grants greater autonomy to mainly tribal areas in AMMT. Okay, or else you can write ATM. So in this way you can remember. So A is for Assam, T is for Tripura, Meghalaya and Mizoram. But even we have one more state, Manipur. So you can remember like this, ATM with no money. That means Manipur will be not coming under this 4. Okay, you have to use that kind of mnemonics in polity for sure, or else you can't remember. Okay, so this 6th schedule so far given in 4 states, that is ATMM. Manipur is not coming under this. Assam, Tripura, Meghalaya and Mizoram. And actually this autonomous district councils, they will manage land use, inheritance laws, social customs, etc. So that will be helpful for managing of their local bodies in these tribal areas. Okay. Yeah, say this article, Global South must work together, says Jaishankar. So actually today's articles in your newspaper are mostly political articles. And one article is regarding India and US relations. Already we did with that, regarding H1B visa. And one more article, it is regarding Palestine. That is one editorial. Already we had done with all those articles. So I took only the new articles in today's discussion, guys. Okay, say this article, Global South must work together, says Jaishankar. What is this article talking about? What is the keyword? Keyword is Global South. So what is the meaning of Global South? Keyword is Global South, right? So they are nothing but least developed and developing countries across the world together. We'll call it as Global South. Okay, so if you take this as a globe, what is a globe? Globe is model of Earth. So here we have 0 degrees, that is equator. So upper is called as upper area above this equator is called as northern hemisphere, and lower is called as southern hemisphere, right? So actually this concept is not based on geography at all. Why? Because south means it should come below equator. But India, where it is located? Above equator, that comes under northern hemisphere. India is also part. And even here we have America, right? So here we have certain small countries. They are called as Latin American countries. And these Latin American countries is also part of Global South. And here in southern hemisphere we have one continent called as Australia. But this Australia will not come under Global South. So that means this concept of Global South is not at all part of geography. It is based on economy, especially less developed and developing countries. And developing countries, they comes under this concept called as Global South. And actually India is leader of Global South. So because of this statement which made by this Jaishankar is Global South must work together. So tell me guys, so what are the problems of this Global South? So Global South concept is nothing but less developed and developing countries. And tell me what are the challenges faced by this less developed and developing countries normally? Tell me about at least problems of India. We have poverty, we have hunger, especially if you go to Africa, how these African children were there. Even we can count their ribs also. Yes, because of lack of food security. Next, poverty is there, hunger is there. Next, malnutrition is there or not? And diseases are more or less. Yes, more diseases. Next. Okay, they have raw materials, but they don't know how to process them. Other countries are exploiting these resources. I'll give you one small example, and that was even prelims-based question in 2024. So actually, you know, everyone knows chocolate. Chocolate is prepared from which raw material? Cocoa. Yes. So we'll be having this kind of beans, and in that beans they will be removing the seeds and they will dry that and they will make the powder that is called as cocoa. And if you go to any supermarket, in blue color, in dark blue color box, you can see this cocoa powder. It is very costly. So actually this cocoa is mainly grown in Africa. Okay, especially in this Congo region, we have this cocoa, and that was the question: which of the following country is the largest producer of cocoa? So actually, what this US will do is US will just export, will be importing this cocoa raw pods from Africa, and what it will do, it will process and it will make chocolates. And if you compare the cost of this raw cocoa and this chocolate, lots of difference. If you see here, just what is the cost of a dairy milk? Minimum 5 rupees. How many boxes you will get? Now the quantity had been decreased. We are getting only 3 boxes for 5 rupees. Earlier we used to get 4 boxes, at least 2 to 3 months ago. That means here, if you are focusing on the processing of raw materials, obviously we can get more income or not. So actually in this less developed and developing countries, the problem here is we have resources, but we don't know how to use that resources efficiently to improve our income or improve our economy. So here, what is the reason behind it? Why we don't know that? We don't have proper technology. We don't have research and development in that area. And we don't have skilled labor force. So because of these 3 disadvantages, so countries are still less developed even though they are having raw materials. So you know that Africa is like very rich in minerals, especially we can get gold. We have diamonds, mines, especially diamond related mines are there in this Africa. But if you see that countries of Africa, they are like least developed. There is lot of hunger, there is lot of food insecurity, everything. Why? Despite of having these diamond mines, because there is no proper processing of that. They don't have technology. They don't have proper marketing. They don't have industries, industrial revolution. So because of all these things, despite of having all those raw materials, they are very poor. Okay. So here, tell me what are the problems of this less developed and developing country. First one is lack of technology. Yes, will you accept it? And skilled labor force. Education is there or not? Low education. Next. Poverty, hunger. Next. Is instability in governments. Actually, one important reason here is government will come in power and there will be instability. Actually, recently in Nepal also instability of government, you know, Bangladesh also instability of government. So like that, especially we have this problem in this less developed countries, instability of government will not be stable. And apart from that, we have other problems like terrorism, especially I said in Africa, we have Sahel region. This is nothing but the area where this Sahara desert spread, and it is very famous for terror outfits. Yes, and if you see between Pakistan, Afghanistan and India. What are the problems? Again, terrorism. Okay, so here this article is saying that, so all these countries which are part of this global south, they have to fight against these problems collectively. Then only we can come up with the solutions for these problems. So that is the thing we here they said. So here what you have to know, first you have to know about what are the problems of this global south. And you have to know clear cut data. If poverty is there, how much amount of poverty, how much what is the number of people they are under this. And it's one is if I am talking about terrorism, so how many terror organizations are there, at least you have to know certain terror outfits working in which area. From Africa, which terror organization? From Pakistan, which organization? From Afghanistan, which organizations? Are you getting? And next one here is you have to know about food insecurity, especially in Africa, which countries are facing this malnutrition at most. So like that, you need to collect the data for the substantiation. Just saying is not right. Everyone will say, but how you are different? By giving certain examples, by giving the data that yes, this report is saying that, you will be having a strong evidence to say it is happening. So in this way, you have to improve your presentation, your answers. Okay. And next one here is you have to think about what can be done. Yes, actually India is leader of Global South. Yes, that means you're also part of that, leaders of Global South. And what are the advantages that you have, like what measures that you can take, or what are the ideas that you have to overcome this problem? Do you have any ideas for poverty, how we can eliminate poverty? Okay, so we have raw materials, that thing is clear. So how can we utilize these raw materials rather than exporting these raw materials to other countries? We have to focus on industrialization. Yes. Pharmaceuticals next. So how can we focus on industrialization? Is that easy? If you want to set up an industry, what do you need? Land, labor, what are those? 4 factors of production: land, labor, capital, investment, right? So here in this less developed countries and developing countries, do we have labor? Plenty of labor. And next, what about land? We do have land. Next, what we need? Skill. We need investment, right? So how can we get investment? So do we have any international organizations which will give funding? What are they? World Bank, IMF, New Development Bank, Asian Development Bank. We have certain regional organizations like BRICS, Asian, like that. We can propose our ideas in that and we can get funds. Is that right or not? Next, what can we do? Other things, and we can focus on research and development. And we have to improve literacy and education in our youth. For example, government can promote STEM. STEM is nothing but science, technology, engineering and mathematics areas, so that we can improve skill. So now we'll get skilled labor force or not. And even now what US is doing, US increased fees for H1B visa. That means it is discouraging Indians to enter US. So now we will be having talent pool in our country itself. Can we use them to improve global south? So can we send them to different countries for the development of that countries? Yes or no? So in that way, you have to think what is happening around us and how can we link with the statements given by our delegates. Okay, so don't think and don't read only what is given in that article itself. That is not at all useful for your exam. That is not the standards of UPSC. You have to think beyond and you have to develop your own ideas. Okay, because you will be the head of a district, or if you got this IFS, Indian Foreign Service, you will be working in embassies of India in other countries. So you have to use your intelligence, your thoughts, everything for the development of that area. So for that, start thinking now. So what technologies we have? So compare with Indian technology and other countries' technologies and collect the case studies and try to come up with your own perspectives, like how can we do, what can we do. That is very important. Okay. Yeah, now let us see exactly what this article is saying. So our external affairs minister hosted the inaugural high-level meeting of like-minded global South countries in New York. In New York, he attended one meeting, and in this meeting, he gathered representatives from 20 nations across Asia, Africa, and America. Okay, and they are focusing on action plan. So, what are the global uncertainties now we have, and how we have to address those problems? Okay, he said that there is increasing of uncertainties in global south, especially after this COVID-19 pandemic. So here, Russia-Ukraine issue is going on, and what is happening in this Israel-Gaza, that is Palestine issue, and even there is no proper food, fertilizer, and energy security. So if you want to improve your agriculture produce, what we need one thing, that is compulsory fertilizer. So commonly used fertilizer in India, what is that? Anyone from agriculture family? Urea. Apart from that, DAP. Have you heard this? So without this, we can't go for agriculture in India especially. So what is the cost of one urea bag? Not 300 done. It was like 340 to 370 now. 350 for sure in your state, huh? In Telangana, in AP? AP 350. Okay. Subsidy 300. So actually, urea is not properly produced in India because of this Bhopal gas tragedy. Bhopal gas tragedy is about this chemicals, fertilizers only. So because of that industrial disaster, we decreased drastically the production of these fertilizers and as well as pesticides in India. And we depended on other countries. And for that, the urea, especially this fertilizers, government will be providing fertilizer subsidy. Okay, so actually here, if you are having global uncertainties, can we get proper imports of this fertilizer? That is one important problem that we are facing. Sometimes, if you are from these rural areas, so farmers will be standing in the queue before that so and so office for even 2 to 3 days to get one urea bag. Do you know this? Because we have lots of uncertainties. If there is no fertilizer, what happens? Can we produce the yield? No. Again, that will be a problem. So that is a problem in most of these global south countries. There is no proper food security, no proper fertilizer, and as well as no proper energy security. Why? Because of extreme weather events as well. And as well as we have volatile trade. So we can't say like when this trade will be good and when this trade will be bad. So we can't expect how this mindset of Trump will be for sure. Yes or no? So one day he says tariff, one day he says visas, one day he says protectionism, one day he says domestic things, one day he says India and China are funding this Russia. So like that, we can't expect like how this trade will be. Can we expect how this, what will be the condition of Nepal in the next 15 days? Or what will be the condition of government in Bangladesh? No. So because of this global uncertainties, it is having always impact on our Indian trade. Okay, so because of this, he is saying that we have to be self-reliant. So why our government came up with this concept of Atmanirbhar or self-reliant? Because in this COVID-19 time, India was hit badly, especially very, very badly. Because of that, at that time onwards, we started that no, we should not rely on any other country. If we want any things, that we have to produce in our country, and we have to give the boost for our domestic industries. So it is also one side, we can say it is also a policy of protectionism as well. Okay, and actually our government is saying that if we are not focusing on self-reliance, or if we are not focusing on development, research, everything, we can't achieve our sustainable development goals. So how many sustainable development goals we have? 17 sustainable development goals. And when we have to achieve them, what is the target year? 2030, right? So here, if you want to achieve that sustainable development goals, all these countries who are part of this global south, they have to come together and they have to act together. And next one here is, he also said that there is some crisis in this multilateralism. Multi means many. So actually many countries, they came together and they formed different organizations. For example, I can talk about WHO. You know this, right? World Health Organization. You know about World Bank, right? You know about WTO, World Trade Organization. So these are certain examples, and even United Nations. So this is nothing but the groupings of different countries, they form this kind of organizations. So actually what is happening here, because of this uncertainties, so even this multilateral organizations, they are not working properly. I'll give you some examples. So here we have WHO. WHO is nothing but World Health Organization. Okay, if you go back to 2019, what was a major event happened in 2019 regarding health? COVID-19. So from which country it has been emerged? China, right? Is that clear? China. So actually after once this COVID-19 spread happened during this November and December months especially, at that time WHO took it light. Okay, it will be like uncommunicable disease. And it didn't give the directives for the different countries like what measures exactly they have to take before spreading of that. So in 2020, especially during this March time, so WHO gave alerts for the different countries. Until and unless it didn't. So actually, if this WHO had been active in this November 2019 itself, there was nothing, this kind of disaster that we might have seen. Okay, so we can say that it is a failure of WHO. And even there is no proper review of this COVID-19 as well. So what is the exact reason of this emergence of disease? So what they did, everything, even today also there is no proper report. And actually, I'll give you one more example. We have WTO, that is World Trade Organization. So what is this World Trade Organization's important aim? To ensure free and fair trade. So now, is there any free and fair trade is happening in the country? No, right? So US is imposing 50%, other country is blocking some things, and some countries says that sanitary measures, some will say that non-sanitary measures, and they are blocking trade, right? So what is the use of this WTO then? Why it has been formed? Again, there is some uncertainties. And I'll tell you one more example. We have United Nations, UNSC. Okay, so what is the important aim of this United Nations Security Council? Establish peace and security for the different countries. So is there any peace in our world? Russia, Ukraine, more than 3 years. And here we have Israel-Gaza issue, more than some decades onwards it is going on. So what is the use of having this? And even one more recent trend is after US or Donald Trump came into power in US in this 2.0 era, he cutted funds for WHO. Do you know this? So actually US is a major contributor of funds for this WHO for its proper functioning. But now US said that we are giving lots of funds, it is increasing burden on our country. We want to cut the funds, we are not going to give funds for this WHO. Again, furthermore deterioration of the functioning of this kind of multilateral organizations is going to happen now. Okay, that is a point which mainly highlighted by our Jaishankar. Will you accept it? Will you agree with that statement? No, na? Yes, sir. So he warned that multilateralism is under attack. United Nations bodies starved of resources, they are not having proper resources and credibility also, because US is cutting the funds for that organizations. And even US also came out of certain organizations like UNESCO, UNHRC. So because of this, what is happening now? There is a big question like how they are going to be function without proper funds, without proper direction, everything. Okay, so that is the thing he mainly said. So because of this uncertainties, all these countries who are part of this global south, they have to come together and they have to work together, because from now onwards, the developed countries, they will not contribute for this multilateral organizations. Okay, what is this global south? Global south refers to the countries that are often categorized as developing and less developed countries. And they are primary from which continents? Africa, Asia and Latin America. You have to remember that. And these nations are having high levels of poverty, income inequality compared to that of wealthier nations of global north. And this global north, which mainly includes North American region, Europe and Oceania. Oceania is nothing but Australia along with nearby islands called as Oceania. And you have to know one important line, please make note of that. That is Brunt line. Brunt line will divide global north with global south. Yeah, see here. So if you see this map, we have yellow color countries and orange color countries, right? So this orange color countries are part of global south. Yellow color countries are part of global north. And the line here you can see this red line which is dividing these countries. That is called as Brunt line. Australia will not come under this global south. It's okay, clear? And there is one article, guys, in your editorial page. Actually, your editorial page, you got article regarding India-US relations, already we discussed. India-Palestine, already we discussed. One is football, we'll keep aside. And one is this salt. Okay. So if you say this title, it says that just a pinch can reduce an Indian salt overload. So actually, India is famous for taking more salt. More salt leads to more BP, more hypertension. So if someone in your home who shouts on you, what you'll say? Eat little salt, not too much salt. And even whenever we are offering the food, we'll say that you're getting already BP. You're shouting on me. Eat little salt. So I added little salt. So actually, what happens in the families? The fighting happens because of the salt only. Yes, whenever woman she is cooking, if the salt is more or salt is less, that will create chaos in that family on that day at least. Yes or no? So here this article is saying that at least if you are decreasing the salt intake in Indians, especially we can overcome some non-communicable diseases like hypertension, low BP and Radu. Okay, we have to eat little bit. Actually, you know that in which areas we'll use more salt. India is famous for preservation, right? Especially lemon pickles, mango pickles, year-long pickles, avocado, different kinds of pickles. So how we'll make that pickles? We'll add more salt. If we add salt, then only it can be preserved for at least 1 year. Yes? Yes or no? You have this experience of eating this avocado or chintakai pachadi jar. Okay. So here the pickles is one important source of high sodium content or salt content in Indians. And India is also famous for this papads, appadalu. Especially during the summer season, what we'll do, we'll cook rice and we will dry them in the sun, yes or no? And even ready-made different kinds of companies, papads will be also available in this markets. So before frying that in oil, if you keep on your mouth, you'll feel బాగుంటాయి ఉప్పుగా, yes or no? And not only that, whatever the chips packets that are available in the markets, especially Lay's blue color packet, salted Lay's, blue color, only blue color salted Lay's, it will be having high amount of salt. That means we had been habituated to take high amount of in even toothpaste, me toothpaste lo uppu unda, yes. So like that in different items that we are using in our daily life, so they are having salt. So actually the problem here in India is whatever the recommendations of WHO, that is World Health Organization, is giving, so we are using double than that. So because of this there is increased risk of hypertension, cardiovascular diseases in our country. Everyone will be having BP, especially if they cross this age of 35. Yes or no, they'll shout like anything. If you talk something with your grandparents, how they'll give the reply? With a very high, bold voice, right? They won't talk like with a simple, soothing way. They'll like shout only. Yes, you have that experience, Akash. Very good. Okay, so this article is important from your science and technology point of view, and as well as from GS paper 2 from health. Okay, now let us see exactly what is this article talking about. So now guys, I want to tell you one thing. I want to ask you one thing actually. So actually salt is very high. We are taking more amount of salt intake. That is very clear. Even we are crossing the limits of WHO. That is for sure 100 or not even 100, 101% clear. And now is there any alternative for this salt? Yes, we have rock salt. Especially in this Hyderabad region, if you're traveling, so we'll be having big autos and vehicles where they are selling this pink color salt, Himalayan salt, rock salt. Yes, we can use that. Apart from that, any other things that we can use? Rock salt. No salt that we can't. Black salt. Pink, red, white. Okay, let us see here. So actually this article is saying that India is having excessive consumption of salt. On average, we are taking 8 to 11 grams per day. But actually WHO said only 5 to 6. So we crossed that 8 to 11. See how much amount of salt we are eating. And even while we are eating fruits also, we will add salt on that. Yes or no? Especially pineapple and watermelon, guava, and even grapes also. In grapes also, and even in this black one will be there. No, what is that? In Telugu, we'll call it as nered pandlu. In English, jamun. Yeah, in jamuns. So while eating these fruits also, the mandatory thing is we'll add excessive salt. Yeah, even in the raw mango, we'll use this. Okay, so like that, not only in the cooked food, even when we are taking some raw foods, like even salads, so no vegetable salads also we'll add this. Raw meat, raw meat enti? I don't know that. Okay, see here the details which are saying here is approximately 3/4 of the salt comes from the home cooked foods, especially pickles, papads, chutneys, because it is one of the culture norm, our societal norm. Indian society is famous for this salt usage, and even not only that, if you go to any restaurant, so we'll be having a salt shaker. Based on your adjustment, you have to add the salt. So that is also one tradition. Even if you go to any community dinners like that, so they will be keeping certain salt beside whatever the items are served. That means based on your taste, you can adjust the salt like that. So this is also an important theme of our Indian dinings, and frequent eatings out. Whenever we are going for outside eatings, always we'll ask extra pepper, extra salt. Yes or no? And even extra sugar also. Okay, and even because of this, what is happening here is now we are eating ultra processed, not raw potatoes. We are not eating raw potatoes, but we are eating ultra processed potato chips. Yes or no? So even cooking of this potato is very rare in our normally households, right? Fries, everything. But chips is like mandatory every day. So that is nothing but ultra processed foods that we are taking in our diet. And apart from that, we are having high fat, salt, sugar foods. HFSS, like we are taking bread, we are taking cookies, ketchups, cakes, pastries, and even nowadays Chinese fast food is increasing, and pizzas, burgers. So in all these foods, what is happening? There is high fat, salt, sugar content, and because of this, what is happening? In Indian adults, 28% minimum they are having this problem of hypertension. That is nothing but high blood pressure. Why? Because of high salt intake. Why high salt intake will leads to the blood pressure? So what is the formula of the salt? Chemical formula. NaCl. Very good. NaCl is nothing but the common salt or table salt. So it is having Na. Na is nothing but sodium. Sodium is one pump for our heart. So we have different pumps, like calcium pumps will be having sodium pumps which are related to the heart. So here whenever we are taking more sodium, more pumping, that will leads to the more blood pressure. Okay. And next one here is we have certain alternatives for this using of normal table salt. We can use rock salt, we can use black salt, or we can use Himalayan pink salt. You can see this pink salt that is coming normally. If you go there, here and there on these autos, they are selling this. Okay, and actually the problem with them is they don't have iodine. So they are naturally available products, right? So here they lack iodine. So because of this, what happened? Again, you may get certain kind of thyroid effects. Okay, baking soda is different. It is having carbon dioxide, not like sodium. Okay. Okay, so what are the measures we can take, guys? So here this article is saying that we have to go for anti-sugar, anti-fat diet, and we have to go for decreasing of usage of sugar and fat so that we can decrease this hypertension conditions, and even we have to use this alternative for this salts like rock salt, Himalayan pink salt, black salt, etc. And we have to change our daily routine or habits. Especially we have to avoid this salting meals, we have to remove these table shakers, and we have to reduce our dependence on homemade preservatives. We have to decrease that intake to at least 75 percentage. And actually urbanization is leading to the increasing of intake of outside foods, packaged foods. We have to decrease that. And next one here is we have to avoid this ultra processed foods, and even government has to ban this marketing of this ultra processed foods, guys. That is the thing. And even one more recent change the government came up here is, so if you purchase any chips packet, if you turn this backside, you will be having one table label. Do you know that? అది మనం చూడము. Open చేసామా? That is our concept. But actually here government said that mandatory in bold letters it has to say how much amount of salt and fats and sugars which are added, but we won't see that. We're always focusing on when we have to open that packet and when we have to eat that, when we have to throw that. Yes or no? Sagar ka? Okay, so this is about this topic, guys, and these are the important topics that happened in our today's Hindi newspaper. By this I'm concluding. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and please like this class and share this class to your friends, and do subscribe to Rathod's IAS Academy. And you can also follow us on our Telegram channel where you can get this PDF of this class, and as well as you can follow us on our Instagram page where we are providing prelims question with answer, and as well as mains question with modal answer, and as well as current affairs in short. Don't miss, guys.